Hold a banana. Now hold your hand next to it. You're looking at a relative, not a distant cousin, not a metaphor, not a philosophical provocation designed to make you feel small. A literal relative, one that shares more than half of the molecular instructions that made you. And the terrifying part is not the number. The terrifying part is what it means about the word human. When most people hear this fact, they laugh. They share it as a joke at dinner parties. Turns out I'm 60% banana, they say, and everyone laughs and no one thinks about it again. That's the wrong reaction. Because the banana statistic is not a quirk. It's not science trivia. It is one of the most radical discoveries in the history of biology. And we've been filing it under funny things to say at parties because the alternative is too strange to sit with. The alternative is this. The line between you and every living thing on this planet is not a wall. It's a gradient. A spectrum that runs from the cells in your fingertips all the way down to a fungus on a rotting log in a forest you've never visited. We've been measuring human uniqueness by counting what we don't share with other creatures, but what if the more honest story, the scientifically accurate story, runs in the other direction? What if the more you understand genetics, the less the category of human means what you thought it meant? Let's start with what a gene actually is, because the word gets thrown around like it means the thing that makes you you. It doesn't, not exactly. A gene is a set of instructions. Specifically, it's a sequence of chemical letters, adenine, thymine, cytosine, guanine, that tells a cell how to build a protein. And proteins are the workers. They build your muscles, run your metabolism, repair your tissues, carry oxygen through your blood. You have roughly 20,000 of these genes. A banana has around 36,000. And when geneticists started comparing them, they found that about 60% of human genes have a recognizable counterpart in the banana genome. Genes that perform the same essential functions: regulating cell division, processing nutrients, managing DNA repair. This wasn't a controversial finding. It was published across multiple genome sequencing studies in the early 2000s as the Human Genome Project unlocked the tools to make these comparisons possible. It was consistent, repeatable, and, when scientists first saw the numbers, genuinely surprising. Not because anyone expected us to be unrelated to bananas, but because no one expected the overlap to be so large. The cells in your body and the cells in a banana are, at their most fundamental level, running similar software, the same basic molecular machinery, the same ancient solutions to the same ancient problems. And that's where the real question begins. The genes you share with a banana are not the unimportant ones. They are not the leftover noise in the genome. They are the core, the foundation, the ones that have been so successful at keeping cells alive that evolution has not changed them in over 1 billion years. Think about what that means. 1 billion years ago, there were no animals, no plants, no forests, just single-celled organisms floating in a primordial ocean. And some of those organisms stumbled onto a solution, a way of dividing cells, managing energy, repairing genetic errors, so effective that every complex life form since has inherited it intact. You and a banana are not similar by accident. You are similar because you share an ancestor, a single-celled organism that lived more than 1 billion years ago, and whose basic machinery was so good that no subsequent branch of the tree of life has found anything better. That ancestor is you. In a very real sense, a version of you that had not yet decided whether to become an animal, a plant, or a fungus. The banana overlap is 60%, but it's not the highest on the list. You share roughly 85% of your functional DNA with a mouse, around 90% with a cat, 96% with a chimpanzee. Those numbers don't surprise most people. They feel intuitively right. Of course, we're similar to chimps. They look like us. They behave like us. We can see the resemblance. But the banana overlap is disturbing in a different way, because a banana looks nothing like you. It has no nervous system, no brain, no movement, no apparent awareness. And yet 60% of the molecular instructions that built it also built you. The similarity is invisible, hidden at a level of reality we can't see with our eyes. And that's the part that should stop you cold. Because if a life form this different from us shares 60% of our genetic code, what exactly is the 40% doing? What work is that remaining fraction performing that produces this? consciousness, language, dread, love, the ability to watch a video about a banana and feel something about it. The 40% does not contain your soul. That sounds flippant. It isn't. Geneticists have been looking for the genes that explain human exceptionalism, the capacity for language, for abstract thought, for moral reasoning. And the more they look, the less the picture resolves into something clean. What they find instead is complexity layered on complexity. It is not that humans have unique genes other species lack. It is that human genes are switched on and off in different patterns, at different times, in different amounts, in different tissues. The same instructions conducted differently. We are not a different composition. We are a different arrangement. 8% of your genome is not human at all. It is ancient viral DNA. Fragments of retroviruses that infected your ancestors millions of years ago integrated themselves into the genome and were never removed, passed down through every generation since. Some of this viral DNA is inert. Some of it turned out to be useful, repurposed by evolution for new functions. One piece of ancient viral code appears to be critical for forming the placenta in mammals. Without a virus that invaded a common ancestor roughly 130 million years ago, the way mammals carry their young might not exist. You are part virus, part banana, part ancient ocean organism, part all of it. The genome is not a portrait of a species. It is an archaeological site. Every layer contains evidence of something older than what came above it. The human genome was fully sequenced in 2003. It took 13 years, $3 billion, and the collaboration of 20 universities across 6 countries. When it was complete, scientists expected clarity, a definitive map of what makes a human human. What they found was more questions than answers, not because the data was wrong, because the data revealed that the relationship between genes and identity is not one-to-one. It is not even close. Most of your genome, somewhere between 98% and 99%, does not code for proteins at all. For decades, it was called junk DNA, dismissed as evolutionary debris. We now know it is anything but junk. It contains regulatory switches, timing mechanisms, structural elements, the instructions for the instructions. The code is not the program. The code is one layer of a system so deep that after a century of molecular biology, we are still standing at the entrance. Here is what this means for you specifically. Right now, your cells are performing the same molecular operations as a banana tree. Your mitochondria, the structures inside every cell that convert food to energy, are running processes so ancient they predate the split between plants and animals. When your cells divide, they use protein machinery conserved across 1 billion years of evolution, unchanged, unimproved. You are doing this continuously, without thought, without awareness. The processes that keep you alive are not distinctly human. They are life's processes, running in a human chassis. And the thing that feels most distinctly yours? The inner voice reading these words, the sensation of following an idea, the particular quality of your attention right now. That is the most mysterious part of all, because it is not encoded in any single gene. It does not appear on any genome map. No one has found it. No one can point to it. You share 60% of your DNA with a banana, and no one has the faintest scientific idea what is responsible for the fact that you can know that and feel something about it and lie awake tonight wondering what it means. That 60% is not the gap between you and the banana. That 60% is what everything shares. The foundation. The ancient grammar of life. The question is not why you and a banana are so similar. The question is what built itself on top of that shared foundation and produced this. You, watching this, thinking about it. Every civilization that has ever existed has built a story around human uniqueness, that we are separate from nature, above it, that whatever made us is fundamentally different from whatever made everything else. Genetics does not destroy that story, but it does complicate it. Because the closer we look, the more the boundaries dissolve, not between human and animal, that one most people have made their peace with, but between human and plant, between animal and bacteria, between life and the chemical reactions that preceded it. The 60% is not the interesting number. The interesting number is 100. Because at the level of atoms, you and the banana and the fungus and the ocean and the stone are made of the same matter. Matter forged in the same stars. Matter that has been cycling through the universe for 13.8 billion years without once being created or destroyed. You borrowed it for a while. You organized it into something that can watch videos and feel wonder and ask questions that have no clean answers. Becomes something else. The banana doesn't know any of this. You do. What are you going to do with that?